Have you ever had that feeling? You know, the one where you're working harder than ever, but you feel like you're just not getting ahead. Well, that feeling is at the very heart of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a book that, honestly, turned how millions of people think about money completely upside down. Today, we're going to unpack its biggest ideas and talk about how to break free from what it famously calls the rat race. So let's just kick things off with a pretty provocative idea from the book. What if the path we're all told to follow, get good grades, find a safe, stable job, climb that corporate ladder, what if that whole thing is actually a financial trap? I want you to picture this. The year is 1923. You're at a fancy hotel in Chicago. A group of the most powerful, wealthiest men on the planet are all meeting. We're talking titans of industry, the heads of the biggest steel, utility, and gas companies. They are the absolute picture of success. But fast forward 25 years, what happened to them? It's a disaster. Some died completely broke, others ended up in prison, and several died by suicide. The book opens with this story for a very powerful reason, to show you just how fragile conventional wealth can be. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that was 100 years ago. But here's the thing, that exact same pattern, that same financial fragility, it exists for millions of people right now. It just has a new name, the rat race. So what does this rat race actually look like for an average person today? Well, the book really zooms in on the middle class, and this is where its ideas, they tend to hit pretty close to home for a lot of us. Let's take a couple, we'll call them Jack and Sarah, living out in a Los Angeles suburb. They both get promotions at work. Awesome news, right? Their income goes up. But almost instantly, something else happens. Their expenses rise right along with it. It's this automatic, almost unconscious reaction that so many of us have. So with those bigger paychecks, what do? Of course, they upgrade their lifestyle. They move into a bigger house, maybe get a nicer car. But the result of all that is that their liabilities, things like their mortgage, car loans, credit card debt, they absolutely skyrocket. They might feel richer, but in reality, their financial chains just got a whole lot heavier. And that right there is the book's definition of the rat race. They're trapped. Now they have to work even harder just to keep up with this more expensive lifestyle they've built. More money comes in, but it flows right back out to pay for everything. They're running faster and faster on the hamster wheel, but they're not actually going anywhere. All right, now we get to what is probably the single most controversial idea in the entire book. What if your house, your home, isn't the asset you've been told it is? I mean, it's a huge part of the American dream, right? We've been told for generations that owning a home is the cornerstone of financial security. It's your biggest asset. But the book stops everything and just asks very directly, is it really? The book's argument is simple. Forget sentiment, just follow the cash. When you own a house that you live in, it creates a never-ending stream of expenses. You've got the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and something is always breaking and needs maintenance. Cash is constantly flowing out of your pocket. And by the book's simple definition, that makes it a liability. And the book argues that the hidden costs, the ones you don't always see, are even bigger. It's not just about the monthly bills. It's about lost time. All the years that money could have been in other investments actually growing. It's the loss of capital you spend on a new roof instead of buying a real asset. And maybe worst of all, it's a loss of education. Because if all your money is tied up, you never get any real-world experience investing. Okay, so if that's the trap, how do you escape? According to the book, the solution starts with a fundamental, a really massive shift in how you see money itself. It all boils down to this, and this is maybe the most important definition in the whole book. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. That's it. Forget all the complicated accounting jargon. It is all about the direction of the cash flow. Simple as that. And here is what that difference looks like. On the poor dad's side, income from a job comes in and flows right out to pay for expenses. But look at the rich dad's side. The whole game is different. The goal is to use income to build up that asset column. Then the assets themselves generate new income, and that income pays for everything else. The priority is completely flipped. Let's just put that another way. The poor and middle class earn money and then they spend it. Money flows in and poof, it flows straight out. The rich, on the other hand, use their income to acquire assets first. Then the income from those assets pays for their lifestyle. Their money is working to create more money. And this leads us to the final and I think the most empowering idea from the book, moving from simply earning money to actually inventing it. To get there, it requires a real shift in mindset. And it's captured perfectly by this quote from the book, "Often in the real world, it's not the smart who get ahead, but the bold." It's all about seeing the opportunities that other people miss and then having the courage to actually do something about them. The author tells this great little story from when he was a kid that makes this whole idea crystal clear. He and his friend noticed a local store was just throwing away old comic books. They saw an opportunity where everyone else saw trash. So what do? They collected all the comics for free and created an asset, a little comic book library in a spare room, charging other kids 10 cents to come in. Then they built a system by hiring the friend's sister to be the librarian. And the result was passive income, about $9.50 a week, which was a lot back then, coming in whether they were there or not. Now, the crucial point here, the big aha moment, isn't about comic books. It's about the mindset. They didn't just get a job and work for a wage. They built a system, an asset that worked for them. And that right there is the core of what the book means by inventing money. And that brings us full circle, right back to you. The book leaves us with this one last powerful question to think about. After everything we've looked at, the trap of the rat race, the huge difference between an asset and a liability, the next time you have $1 in your hand, what is the most important choice you can make with it?